This question is asking us to complete the text. So basically with these questions, they tend to be hard. They tend to require a little bit of extra thinking because we're not just going with what's in the passage. We have to kind of add on to it. But my advice for these is just read what you've got and try to just kind of, in the simplest way possible, follow that conclusion and just kind of see where the passage is leading you. So we're going to use dumb summaries like we always do, but let's start with the passage. In the South Pacific, New Caledonian crows use two different kinds of stick tools. One tool is complex. The crows shape a stick from a rare plant into a hook. The other tool is basic. The crows find a stick without a hook on the ground. The hooked tool is harder to get, but is much better than the basic tool at removing prey from holes. So hooked is better. Okay. When studying New Caledonian crows, ecologist Barbara Klump found that they hold the hooked tools in their claws when not using them, or they carefully put them in a safe place. The crows don't do the same with the basic tools. This suggests to Klump that the, hooked tools are better, right? They like those ones. They're holding on to them. They seem to be doing more things. It literally says the hook tool is better. So this is a good example where I'm not really coming up with that crazy of a conclusion here. They basically just said it somewhere else. And now in the SAT's weird way, we're basically just being asked to summarize that conclusion. So let's see if anything matches with that. Choice A, hooked stick tools are more valuable to the crows than the stick tools without hooks. Yeah, the hooked are more valuable. That's basically exactly what I said. Now, I got to read everything else and make sure, but let's just see. It's probably going to be the case that A is best, but we'll see. B, hooked stick tools are easier for most of the crows to hold than the stick tools without hooks. Well, this is reasonable, right? I mean, this is the thing with this, like, logically completes the text, is that this choice is not illogical, right? If they're holding on to the hooked tool, it might be because it's just easier to grip. It's easier for the talons of the crow to kind of hold on to. But we don't have any other evidence of that, right? It's not like we can go into this passage and find a specific thing that says that they're easier to carry. They talk about that they're easier to use maybe for a particular type of prey, but they are harder to get. So, this is just not a particular fact about these tools that we are given. So even though it is logical in like the broad sense, we are always still basing our logic on stuff that's in the passage. So with choice A, I can literally just point to where it says this. So that's definitely still the best answer. Let's look at C. The crows prefer to share their stick tools, but don't share the stick tools. Okay, there's nothing about sharing, so I don't know what this is all about. This is just like a random thing that they're bringing in, not talked about at all. D. Crows realize that both kinds of stick tools are less effective than their claws are at removing prey from holes. No, I mean, this is basically just, it's a bad comparison. We've talked about this in lots of passage questions in this test so far, where we have to be careful of comparisons that don't actually match with what the passage is saying. It's a comparison that the passage doesn't make. They're comparing the two different types of tools. They're not comparing them to the claws themselves. So this is just kind of bringing in a random thing. In a way, you might also characterize this as a main character trap, where they've shifted from the tools, which is the main character of the passage, to now the claws themselves are a character when they really aren't. So yes, I thought A was going to be right. It is right. And this just goes to show that even though these questions are overall harder, many of them are still easy. And so you can just kind of get that same strategy going where you kind of get a dumb summary and just use that as a baseline. If we need more detail, we can always go back into the passage and get it. But for most questions, a simple understanding is all you're going to need to get the right answer.